Hey, Bill in Virginia, and welcome back to another episode of Model Railroading Adventures with Bill. This week, I am doing the track cleaning and scenery work over on the N scale layout. Got the NOAX ID A special that I'm going to put on the track. Again, saw that on Ron's Trains and Things, did some research, did it over on the HO scale in the last video. But what I've been doing here for a while already is I've been going back in with some of the Scenic Express Seafoam Super Trees. What I've done is I've been taking the little bits and pieces off of just one of the larger sections and making little N scale trees to kind of flesh out areas of the N scale layout. And it's working pretty good. I like the texture, the ability to kind of see through the branches so you can see what's behind it. You know, gives it a fairly real texture to the trees, even along the little backdrop. You know, it adds a little bit more depth to that little space. So I've been having some fun. So I'm going to put more on the layout, show a little bit more on the scenery because I got a lot more to do in here and other areas before I do the track work. So stay tuned and let's see what we can do. So here is one big piece of the seafoam from Scenic Express. You know, you get it in a box and you can do all kinds of cool things with it. You know, you could plant this as a tree just as it is. What I've done is I've already come in and painted it. I've painted it's sort of a flat dark forest green, and then I have put leaf material to kind of fill it out already. So similar to how I've built the other trees. You know, no real difference there. Except what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel individual little pieces off of this, and some of those pieces I'll break into smaller pieces and plant them. You know, just kind of looking at the tree from, this thing from this angle, I'm probably going to be able to get at least maybe 50 to 60 smaller N-scale size pieces off of it. Now, a lot of the sizes you can also use over on HO scale. It'd be a smaller scale bush, smaller scale tree, but there's a lot of material that you can get off of one piece that you can use for filler work. So I'm going to plant a bunch of these. It's very simple. I'm just going to break it off using a pair of tweezers. I'm going to add a little dab of super glue at the very bottom of it. I mean, just a dab. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to put it in areas where I've got ground foam ground cover, like right in there. Because it's easy to poke the seafoam into that area. It'll stick and it will kind of flesh it out, make it look more like a thicket type area. So let's see here. I'm going to put a bunch of these in and then come back and then we'll take a look at the results. So here's that full sprig, and here's how you get the material off. Pretty easy. Pair of tweezers, come in down near the base and just pop it, and then pull it off gently. You might get a few more sprigs off than you want, but that's okay. You kind of take it apart. There I've got a nice either HO scale bigger tree, or what I'll do for the N scale is I will break this twig down, and there I get different sizes, and I can even go smaller, take off more to get down to this level. There's a nice N scale little tree. So I'm going to start planting them. Well, about 30 minutes later, and I lost count after pulling about 60 little trees off of that particular piece. So that seafoam is definitely a good investment. So I got a lot of areas filled in over here. You can kind of see it in the video that I'm taking. I've got really just from the end of the layout over to about right there, right in the middle of the frame is where I stopped. And I've still got more that I'm going to put in, but it gives it a nice texture, and you can see through it so that you can still see things that are behind it, but it looks more forestry. You know, it kind of blunts some of the angles and shapes of the purchase trees, gives it a little bit better view here. So I'm going to show you from a different angle, and I think you'll be able to see what I mean here. So in this shot, I have not done much of anything. I've actually done a little bit on the other side of that ridge, but from here you can see just how the trees look. Now as I slowly pan, I get to about the middle of the shot now is where I left off, but notice the texture of the forest changes as you're looking down the layout. It looks softer, it looks fuller using the seafoam trees. And again, I've not taken any trees off, I've just added in areas where I had ground cover and a little dab of super glue. But it makes it look more like a good forest. And even from where I'm standing, I can see through the branches of the trees, and see what's behind it. So I really like that effect. This stuff, I really am happy working with the seafoam. I'm going to be getting more of it too here. Over on the HO scale layout, as I was working that piece of seafoam down, I had a few big pieces that looked really good. So I put them in on the HO side. Again, just kind of a flesh out on that side of the tree. Added one small one in that thicket area near where the Boy Scouts have their camp, and then just one kind of coming out of that clump over there in the corner. And I'll probably add a few more small pieces just to kind of flesh out the scene as I go, but looks good. I think now I'm going to be doing track work on the end scale and just doing some operation and letting it run. I've got plenty of time and plenty of materials to come back in and continue to add the seafoam and flesh out my forest areas. So, all right, let's run some trains after I get the NOAX ID put down on this. Well, quite a few more trees put in from the seafoam. You can kind of see that darker green on the hillsides. Got little bits of trees put in different areas of the layout. I really like this stuff. I've been spending time on my feet out in the shop, putting some stuff down on the layout here. I like how it looks. Makes for nice background. Cool. All right. Now let's take care of the track and do some running of some trains here on the layout. From scenery to track cleaning, I have taken all of my rolling stock off of the end scale layout. All engines and all cars are safely over at the workbench, and I am going to clean the track same way that I did with the HO scale. Not going to do any video on that, but just a quick pan over here. Same methods. I've got the odorless mineral spirits. I've got the NOAX ID A special. Since it is end scale, my balsa wood track cleaning tool is a little smaller. I cut my strips a little narrower for soaking into the mineral spirits. And instead of using the dowel tool to help with my points, I'm going to use one of the little micro brushes when I get to that point where I can put the grease in the points of the switches. Won't show any of the actual cleaning efforts on the layout, but we'll see the end results, because then after this I should be up and running with the trains. So let's get this done and then run some end scale trains and see how that NOAX ID works on that track. So I've got the track completely cleaned. I've put the NOAX ID A special on everything, and I'm letting engines run right now. Just covering the main line, different paths through the freight yard, to make sure that the grease gets distributed well. I did find that on the N scale, I put it on the same thickness that I did on the HO scale, which I thought was pretty light. But I found that when I first put engines on the track, there would be stalling and hesitation all over the place. Well, I had the epiphany and I really wiped the track a little bit firmer than I would have normally, and cleaned up a lot of excess grease. The little blue rags that I've got showed that I'd put way too much on in certain spots. And with the light weight of the N scale engines, the grease would actually sit on top of it and just break the electrical connection. So I went back over and wiped down the track, again, just a little bit more firmly. There's still plenty of grease on, and you can feel it by the touch. And getting a lot better results. Engines are running nice and smooth right now through just about everything. Have had a few issues with switches. These are the Atlas Code 55. They are not powered through, just off the points. So again, put a little bit too much grease in a few spots. I had to go in with a toothpick and kind of clean it out so that I had better conductivity of electricity through them. And that seems to have eliminated most of the problems. Still have some temperamental switches occasionally here and there on the layout. Always have since I built the darn thing. But for the most part, it's running pretty well. Cannot complain about it. So I'm going to get the rest of my engines on. I've still got a few to run to get broke in and get their wheels covered with grease. And then I'm going to actually run some trains rather than just run some engines. So that's coming up next. Well, all in all, I'm pretty pleased with the track cleaning and the addition of the No Ox IDA special to this point. As noted earlier with N-scale track, I got to be a little bit more delicate on the application and make sure that the cleaning is done better around the switches. You know, these are all Atlas Code 55 track components on this layout. You know, if I do it over again, I would go to you know, different different brand probably. But you know, with a little fine tuning, you can make it work pretty well. So right now, she's running really good. Trains are running nice. The switches are working well. I've got a little bit of work I'm going to do on those. So what I'm going to do for the rest of the afternoon is I still have 4 engines I need to run in to make sure that their wheels get coated with the No Ox ID. I'll focus most of my efforts on the yard and sidings just to make sure everything's in and running good. And then I'll put the cars back on the layout, and this is all ready to go. And then we'll see how long I can go before I have to do another deep cleaning of the track. Hopefully this one will be just like what's been advertised on other folks' YouTube channels, that this could be a long period of time between cleaning, just an occasional vacuum. So anyway, that's it for this one. Keep having fun on your layouts, and then we'll see you again here soon. Take care.